Welcome, everybody. Today we have a very special guest.
I knew early on that I wanted to make movies.
It's such a difficult industry because there's a lot of luck involved.
I mean, look at American Werewolf in London, look at The Thing, look at The Fly. Look at these films that have really withstood the test of time.
I sculpted this Captain Kirk mask, and they didn't sell particularly well, but then John Carpenter came in, said, can you paint one white and spray paint his hair black?
I was maybe 9 or 10 years old, and it scared the living shit out of me.
You're just racking up these people that you grew up watching. They're in your films. Is that surreal?
There were 35 directors there. If there had been a bomb dropped on that restaurant, never another good horror movie.
Bene's Bloody Bits.
It's Thursday. This wasn't planned, but we've had some big possible news come through this week. I'm Jason Bene. He is film historian Malcolm Harvey.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Malcolm, thank you for joining me to talk about a possible Blu-ray or maybe even a 4K release of The Keep.
Keepy.
Let's see. One of my favorites and longest anticipated horror releases. Hope it is official. I do too.
Official.
I don't usually like to run with the rumor, but there's some documentation. There's some, unofficial evidence, and that's what
There's
Malcolm
proof to the theory, isn't there?
Yeah, I don't usually like to go off of no information, but we're gonna jump into what has shown up on the internet in the last 3 days. It's
Okay.
Let's just get to it. There's no reason to wait. Okay. So this is the artwork that ended up in the Facebook group, the Vinegar Syndrome collectors. Not the best looking artwork in the world, but if you look at the bottom, it says Michael Mann's The Keep, VHS case cover art, $900. Michael Mann's The Keep Blu-ray cover art, $1,000. Now those prices could possibly be what the artist is getting paid to do.
Yeah.
$900 for the VHS, $1,000 for the Blu-ray. And that's your buddy, Molasar, the creature from the film.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how this person found this. I mean, were they a friend of the person, or they're trying to just be a jerk about it and out the person for posting it? Because if you come to this next screen, this is what was on the same page. You can see in the URL, it says EEP, or, obviously Keep, VHS case cover art. The important words here are Vinegar Syndrome. This is snapshots from the URL cellillustration.com. Since these got posted, they've been removed. You cannot find the website that these were on.
Vinegar Syndrome probably asked them to remove it before it became too popular.
So what do you think of this? If this is real art, should we take this serious? I mean, what do you think about this?
I think we should take it serious. I mean, the VHS case cover art would make sense because they would release probably a VHS the way they normally do. The Blu-ray cover art looks about right for the style that I can imagine Vinegar Syndrome would do as well. Kind of a basic cover, but one that would easily tell you what the film is. And it would be one-sided, wouldn't it? I mean, the other one on the VHS could also be the back cover. So I do think it is. They did say, if you go by the hints, it definitely points to this.
And also, this looks like it could be something like a poster art to go with the films. To me, here's what we know. The Keep is a film from Paramount Pictures. Vinegar Syndrome has a license with them to go in there and grab these films.
Yes.
Now, we know that the director, Michael Mann, has never been a fan of this film. He's kind of been like the George Lucas to the Star Wars prequels of this film. I'm sorry, the original Star Wars films, the original editions. He just doesn't like The Keep. Michael Mann doesn't. He's kind of kept it from coming out. There was an Australian DVD, The Keep, that came out a few years ago, but we've never had a Blu-ray. And according to you, there's never going to be a 4K, right? Because of the picture quality?
That's what I've read. I've read they can't get the elements for 4K. I mean, you never know. They could, but I highly doubt it.
So that could explain why there's going to be a Blu-ray, no 4K, the elements, the picture quality. I do know there's basically 3 versions of the Keep. There is the director's cut from Michael Mann, which I don't think many people have seen.
It's
There's
3.5 hours long.
Yeah, the theatrical cut, and then there's like a TV cut with additional footage and stuff that's probably more story based. But if Vinegar Syndrome has it and they're going to release it this year, I'm thinking November for Black Friday. And
Definitely November.
I mean, it could always be next year, but I think the fact that this is legit, the artist has worked on it. I could see it being November, October. I don't think so. December is partner label month. So we have this artwork.
What about the hint? What about the November hint? Because it's an 80s film. So, and
Yeah.
it's a film that wasn't released on Blu-ray.
And also, I'm friends with a guy named Sean Francis. Now, he runs kind of like Dawn of the Disc, even before Dawn of the Disc was around, called DVD News Flash. It's probably been around a dozen years. And he usually is really good about, before he posts any kind of, exclusives, to kind of like back it up with a little bit more of a confirmation. And he posted this on Facebook yesterday. I now have official confirmation Vinegar Syndrome is indeed releasing the Keep on Blue. I decided to take a chance and ask F. Paul Wilson, he's the author of the Keep, on Facebook if he knew anything about it. And he told me, yes, he recorded an interview for it. So there you have it. In the past, he's posted stuff like this, and it's always come to fruition. He's not one like just for clickbait and stuff like that. So what do you think? On top of the artwork, now we have a little bit more, juicy information.
Well, I think it's definitely coming in November. Like I said, if you look at the hints, it might actually tell you. Because if it says an 80s horror movie that hasn't been released on this is probably the one.
Yeah, and then I think about, for the last couple years, on April 1st, for April Fools, Vinegar Syndrome has done this, pay $8, $10, and you're going to get something. And we didn't really know what it was. But 2 years ago, it was an alternate slipcover for The Invisible Maniac. Yeah. Last year, it was an alternate slipcover for Fatal Games. Now, we already paid $24 this year, but people are like, whoa, that's a lot of money. So that was called VS Votes 2024, $24. I'm thinking this could be a box slip.
It's got to be, because a slip would be that'd be too expensive for a slip unless it's multiple things.
I mean, it's $24. I paid it. Did you get it too?
Yeah, I paid for it.
Yeah, after I missed out on the nice nudity-filled slipcover for Invisible Maniac, I said, screw it. I'm going to get something cool. If I don't like it, I can get rid of it. But $24, a slip box. Now, if it was VSU, which we don't think it's an Ultra 4K, that could be a slip box. But maybe it's a combination of things. I mean, we're going to find out. Black Friday sale is the end of November. So in about 2.5 months, we're going to find out if this is true. So this is what we're looking at. We got artwork for a VHS and a Blu-ray. We got a link to, a URL, which kind of explains it's a snapshot for, a Vinegar Syndrome release.
Yeah. We
got somebody who, reached out to the author of the Keep, who said he got interviewed for it. We got this VS votes.
I'm guessing the votes cut off means something towards the film.
Yeah. So what are your final thoughts? I mean, do you like this film? Are you down with it?
The film's all right. I think it could be a lot better than it is. I think there's a decent film in there, but I think there's an even better film, preferably if the director's cut is actually restored and put on there. Because for me, I've always felt like the film was missing quite a lot of stuff. And the sound quality of the one I watched was horrendous, even though it was supposedly a HD. So there were times where I couldn't hear what they were saying. It seemed very low. and it seems all over the place a little bit. So I'm hoping if the director's cut, for instance, was put on the disc, but I'd be able to watch it again and actually see more of the potential of it looks like when you're actually watching the movie. I do like the atmosphere. I do like the use of colours. I do like the soundtrack, the score. I do like most of the stars in the movie. I just feel like for some reason there's something very missing from it.
And that would make sense that the original cut that Michael Mann made was long, probably longer than Paramount wanted, because anytime you're adapting a book and you're trying your best to fit everything in there, I don't know if it was like a 2.5 hour, 3 hour cut, but theatrically, you know, people don't have the attention spans to sit through that long of film at times. And the less times you could show it in a day, the less money you make. But the last time that I watched it, I really appreciated it. When I grew up with it, I was like, whatever. It didn't really, you know, I'm like, it's not my thing. It's not like, you know, it's 1983. So think about the kind of films that were popular there. This, you know, story of Nazis unearthing this Molosar, this creature, you know, this ancient evil, and, you know, them having to look to like a Jewish historian. So I think as a kid, that didn't click with me. But as an adult, I find it fascinating because of the Holocaust and what, you know, the Nazi Germany did to the Jewish people. Just the fact that they have to work together on any level or capacity is fascinating. You got Scott Glenn, Jürgen Prochnow, Sir Ian McKellen in a very, you know, early role for him. I think it is style over substance, and I'm okay with that because I'm a visual kind of person in general.
Yeah.
You said the score was great. That's Tangerine Dream. A lot of people love the scores that they've done in films. And like I told you before, I was tempted to pick up that DVD that came out a few years ago, but something told me, well, if a DVD could come out, granted, in Australia, I want a Blu-ray. And normally I think Vinegar Syndrome would want to get out in front of the story if it were true. If it was like Thriller, where Synapse was putting out their version and then, well, we also have ours. I think they're just like, well, we're a couple weeks away from doing a flash pre-order on the Black Friday titles. I think that might be like a time to go, okay, we're going to give you 3 of the 5 films. 2 of them are going to remain, you know, you're not going to know until the
they always do.
I'm fine with the Blu-ray. I know that a lot of people are like, why is everybody making a big deal about this film? But, you know, a lot of people like it. A lot of people don't, and that's okay. Will it play in USA? I'm thinking he's talking about the DVD, Australian. I think so.
Well, if you got region all DVD player,
yeah, if you're all region, you should be fine. But I really think this is a case of, you know, if we go back
to
the
Blu-ray anyway, because it's been released in America. So if you got a Blu-ray player,
yeah, and I don't know like the contract, like how Michael Mann like has so much say, because he's been very vocal. Even like if you watch a Q&A with him at a film festival and the Keep comes up, he's just not a fan. I'm not sure if it's because it was cut down.
He does love making his long films.
New Vinegar Syndrome would be Region 1, yeah. Vinegar Syndrome's really good about that.
Region A, wouldn't it? If it was Blu-ray, it'd be Region A. It could be regional.
Yeah. So you just recently watched it, Malcolm, as like a refresher?
Yeah, as a refresher, I recently watched it today. I watched it this morning again because I wanted a refresher because there were bits I remembered from it, but there wasn't, and there was bits I'm missing, obviously, because I'd seen it probably like, maybe on VHS.
Yeah, I was. At first, I wasn't going to do a video on it, and then more evidence, more stuff started coming up, and I'm like, look, it might come out later on that I look like a fool to do this video, and it's like, nope, they never had, you know, the rights to it or whatever. But I think they have it. And while we're talking about Vinegar Syndrome in October and November, I think Vinegar Syndrome came in at the last minute and also got the rights for Iced and took it away from, and I think they got that from TerraVision. I know the word was they were talking to the producers or directors about getting it. And I really think that Vinegar Syndrome swooped in and got Iced. If you look at the tease for I think it's October. It's very vague, but it's like just like a much requested movie on Blu-ray, and I don't know if that was. I don't think it was shot on video, so I don't think it would be part of a DeGosser video. But I can see it being a standalone, just a mainline title.
I can see him doing that. Hopefully, on the back it says "Ice Ice Baby." Says like "Screw you, television."
Yeah, and people have to remember this is the 1-2 punch. This is coming up October, November. This is when people wish they subscribe because you're going to get the bigger horror titles or a bigger studio genre film like The Keep. I really do think The Keep is going to be November.
Yeah. I think so. I think you were right about it. I think if another company had announced they're releasing it around the same time, I think Vinegar Syndrome would have come out and said it. But since no one else is at the minute, they've got no reason to. But I do think if it was going to be one of their hidden ones, they're going to point it out and put it in the thing and probably change them over.
And just in case, if anybody came in here late, what we're referencing is the stuff that popped up on the internet. Nothing's set in stone. Nothing is law. But we got a Michael Mann's The Keep VHS artwork, Blu-ray artwork, a URL that breaks down. It's from Vinegar Syndrome. We got somebody who reached out to F. Paul Wilson, the author of The Keep. He confirmed he got interviewed for a Blu-ray, not a 4K UHD. And the VS votes from April 1st, April Fool's joke, $24. What could we possibly have spent our money on? And yeah, man, I just want to come on here and do a fairly quick video. Yeah. I don't want to go on too long. Anything else that you want to talk about this film?
No, man, I like the way the what's his name? The monster. What's his actual name?
Who?
The monster in the movie.
Oh, Molasar, which, okay, if you look at this background here, there's a very young Michael Mann. There's Molasar and Nick Mahey, or Maley, M-A-L-E-Y. He was pretty hot at the time. He worked on this film. He jumped over to Life Force and did the effects for the Toby Hooper film. He's British, so these films were like British productions. So it made sense that they hired somebody who was local. I'm glad you brought up Molasar. Yeah, is he dated? Yes, the film was probably shot in 1982, released in 83. But I always liked the look. He's all muscle bound. He looks like he's on steroids. He's got the big neck that's connected to his shoulders, and
and he starts off as big clouds spinning around.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he's got the glowing eyes and stuff, and he's just kind of like this. I would love to hear. I don't think we'll ever get an audio commentary with Michael Mann. He's probably too busy. Like, no, talk to me about Miami Vice or Manhunter or some other film he feels. But it's weird. As a fan, I get kind of like defensive if I like something. I don't care if it's the filmmaker or critics or fans. The more people rag on something, the more I want to come to its defense. So I will look at this film eventually again, and I'll be like, I know I liked it from memory, and the memory is probably from 20 years ago. But yeah, I get kind of like irritated when people are quick to, other people's enjoyment. They want to like, yeah, hell with man. Sorry, Malcolm.
Well, I was going to say, I find it interesting doing the sex scene, but when they were having sex, both their arms were like this, right? Which was like the cross in the actual cape. They looked like an actual cross in the cape while they were having sex.
This is going to be a short video, but Malcolm found a way to talk about sex, baby. Of course he did. He went there.
Yeah, but it's true. That's what it looks like. It looks like the cross in the cape. So I thought that was interesting.
And if you guys have time, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We thank you for watching. This is going to be a short video, but it wasn't planned. I feel like I don't want to drag it out for an hour because I think we got to the point. We brought some evidence. I'm excited about it, probably a little bit more than Malcolm. I'm excited
for the extras because the extras will probably tell me more. If there's like a commentary or say, tell me more about the film, and the history. And sometimes the history can sometimes make you appreciate the film more when it's like this, in my view.
I could see there being like an hour-long documentary, right? Talking
Yeah.
to everybody, but probably Michael Mann. Probably some audio commentaries with like, film historians or fans or whatever.
I'm on it. I didn't want to tell anybody, but I'm doing the commentary.
They need to have the keeper or sleeper Malk. I mean, how do they not put you on there? I'm actually going to be back here on my channel like in 3 hours to talk to Alfonso Salazar, also known as Fonzo 13. He used to be at Killer Film when I was there, but he's like the ultimate collector and convention goer. He's the opposite of the way I am now. He's kind of the way I used to be. So I wanted, even though I've been very vocal about I'm so over it and the prices, I do admire people that are still into it. So that's kind of why I wanted to bring him on. So that's about 3 hours. Malcolm and I will be back Monday for episode 2, Attack of the Clones, our look at the entire theatrically released Star Wars series. And is there anything else you want to say to everybody, Malcolm, before we sign off?
Not really. Have a good evening, and hopefully it's not too hot for everybody or day.
Yeah, stay cool out there, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Thank you for stopping by, everybody. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys.